Well, hello everybody. Well, here's my second addition to this channel in the last couple of weeks. I've been giving it a lot of thought, as I said in the last video, and I feel like if I do what I did for the last 2 years and just shut up and stop talking, that the social media platforms win. So I've decided I'm just going to say the things, and if just one person hears it, that'll be great. And if nobody hears it, at least I'll feel better because I said something. So today, I want to talk about words mean something. I got onto this subject because it has irritated me for years. The way the left plays with semantics, it just is irritating as hell to me. And I was listening to Biden tell one of his 1,000 lies an hour when he said, the economy is strong, Bidenomics is working. And I thought, when a person on the right hears that, we have biometrics that we can check. What's the inflation? What's the cost of goods? What's the annual output? What's interest rates? When he says it, or not just him, anybody on the left, when they say the economy is strong, what they mean is you still have a job. What are you complaining about? My life is fine. Remember in the last video I said they don't give a shit about this country. What they care about is themselves and their power. And as long as they can go to the grocery store, fill up their car, jet around to wherever they need to go, and it's not punching a hole in their budget, the economy's fine. So I thought about that, and then I started thinking about all the times I got irritated about the way they bastardize words. Okay? And I'm going to give you 3 examples. And my premise and my conclusion, both from this, is this. And I'm going to read it to you. This is my thoughts and my words, but I want to make sure that I get it right because this is accurate. We on the right use words to communicate. The left uses words to normalize bad behavior and to demonize good behavior. Think about that. The left uses words to normalize bad behavior and to demonize good behavior. I got 3 examples for you. The first one is illegal aliens. In the 1970s and 80s, they were called illegal aliens by Democrats, Republicans, everybody. I saw a video of Chuck Schumer in the late 80s giving a speech railing against illegal aliens. Then somehow, we decided that they were illegal immigrants because they were immigrating. Okay? An illegal alien, by the way, alien is a biblical term. An illegal alien didn't exist back then because they had no laws. We have laws to break. So an illegal alien is exactly and properly named. But the left and the press has taken this term through many gyrations, and I'm going to go through them with you. Illegal immigrants. Then it was illegal migrants because they were migrating. Then there was refugee. Then they were just migrants. Then they were called migrant workers. Then they were called undocumented aliens. And I heard one the other day, they're called undocumented Americans. Now, let's go from the first word to the last word and see if they're not using language to normalize bad behavior. Bad behavior is illegal immigration, illegal alien. The newest term is undocumented American. See the progression? See how that worked? They do that on many, many fronts. They're using semantics to legalize bad behavior. Now let's talk about one where they demonize good behavior. Freedom of speech. That is a God-given right spelled out in our Constitution. Freedom of speech. Then, starting about mid-2000s, we had woke speech. Then we had virtual signaling. Ooh. Then we had hurtful speech. Then we had hate speech. Now we have unlawful speech. If you use hate crime by whatever definition the left decides to call hate speech, that's illegal, and you can be prosecuted for that. So somehow in this country, the left has taken a God-given right, freedom of speech, which is something good, and through the decades has turned it into unlawful speech. Well, I'm sorry, but unlawful speech is not part of freedom of speech. One more example, and this one is normalizing bad behavior. You ready? Abortion. Bad behavior. Then, because it had a bad connotation, we decided to call it pro-choice, and we've been doing that since the 70s, okay? Pro-choice. To which if I were on the right, I would call it pro-murder. But pro-choice, because it sounds like you have a choice. And when you have a choice, what they really mean is you have half of this population has the right to commit murder legally, is what that means. Then we had right to choose. Okay? The problem with that is it sounds, again, you have choices, and now it's a right. Okay? You have a right. Rights that are given to you by men can be taken away by men. The right to have an abortion is not a right. Depending on your viewpoint, it may be a privilege, it may be a curse, but it is not a right. Then we went from right to choose to women's right. Again, with the term rights. Women's rights. So what about men's rights? It takes two to tango, baby. Why does the woman get 100% of the choice and the man is left out of it? Well, that term says it. It's exclusive to women. Women's rights. Then we went to reproductive rights. Okay? Again, it's still a right given to you by a politician, and it's about reproductive rights. And a minute ago I talked about virtue signaling. And here's the one that the left loves to use when they're discussing pro-murder. Roe v. Wade. That's the fancy term, Roe v. Wade. Now, a couple of things I want to say about Roe v. Wade. I was alive when this thing originally came before the Supreme Court. The determining factor in that passing was they could not scientifically say when life started because sonograms were not around. Okay? So they basically flipped a coin. The young people in the country were screaming for abortions. The lefties were saying, well, they're going to do them anyway. We may as well make it legal and safe. So the Supreme Court passed it. It immediately became institutionalized, backed by the left, financed by our government. Roe v. Wade, by the way, just like abortion, just like education, should be a local state issue, not a federal issue. By even the Supreme Court taking it up on a federal level goes against our Constitution. They say that Trump got Roe v. Wade eliminated. That's not true. All the Supreme Court said is it's a states' rights issue. This is not a federal issue, and they are correct about that. Anyway, so we have 3 examples, and there's many, many more. Pick a topic, and you can tell how they've turned it around. Economy, gun rights. I mean, pick one. But here's 3 solid examples of how the left has used semantics and words to demonize good behavior and to normalize bad behavior. Here's one: homosexuality. Think of all the gyrations of that term that we have gotten through to get to now to where we just lump them all together, LGBTQLMNOP. That's normal. Why is that normal? That is against God, it is against the Bible, it's against common sense, it's against common decency, and it's committing murder. Did you know that AIDS was introduced into this country by a homosexual? And he was confronted about it, and you know what he said? I don't care. We could go on and on about all the words, but the 3 that came to my mind today, and I proved very easily: illegal aliens, freedom of speech, and abortion. And I want to say one final thing before we go. When Satan does his job of steal, kill, and destroy, the primary way you know if something is from God or from Satan is if it's from Satan, there is confusion around it. There is uncertainty around it. Those first 3 terms I gave you were solid definitions, easy to find: illegal aliens, freedom of speech, and abortion. Very plain, very easy. But the years since we stopped using those terms and started using all of these other terms has done nothing but cause confusion. They've made right wrong and wrong right. They've normalized bad behavior and demonized good behavior. That's the very definition of evil. Right is wrong and wrong is right. That's the definition of evil. I wish people would wake up and understand that they are being manipulated. One more thing. I had to go get a permit to put up a little privacy fence on my property, and this has aggravated the crud out of me. It's my property. I ought to be able to do what I damn well please on it. But I had to go pay a fine. Had to donate money to the government to put up a stupid privacy fence. You want to go fishing? You got to pay the state. You want to put up a fence? You got to pay the state. You want to build a house? You got to pay the state. You want to go hunting? You got to pay the state. Are we really free, or are we paying for our freedom inch by inch? That's about all I want to talk about. I'll be back. I just don't know what the topic is or when.